Hello and welcome to Canada, where we are set up for a really interesting race here today. Lots of drivers looking to make their mark here on the track in Montreal. Well, welcome one and all. Like I said, we should be in for a really good race this week. Montreal is certainly a very interesting track here. The circuit length is just over 4 kilometers. There are two DRS zones. That being said, one of them kind of breaks up between what's known as the Wall of Champions along that home straight, where we see lots and lots of drivers hitting that wall. So qualifying is going to be a little wet. It's going to start. Looks like the forecast calls for much heavier rain to come. So these drivers will try to get these qualifying times in this here in Canada. And let's go ahead and take a look out at Styx, who's our first driver out on the track. Lots of inter tires here with the wet track. This rain is only going to get worse in the coming few moments here, as Big Baguette gets an outlap under his belt. We'll stay on board with Styx and show you the twists and turns of this Canadian circuit. On this track, Let's Get Fiscal has seen a lot of success. He's won 3 times here during the Bette Jalle Season 2, Season 3, and Season 4. He three-peated it not too long ago, as we see Styx already having some issues with that wet track. And last year, Fiscal finished in 2nd on this track. So he'll be looking to really put it together and hopefully come away with points after a relatively disappointing P11 last week, or Friday, I should say. As you see, Styx has had his lap invalidated, unfortunately. So we'll take a look on with Trulson as he comes across the line and looks to set his lap time here. You see the first couple laps, first couple turns rather, and really get to you. Quick left and then a quick right. Turn 3 is sudden right into turn 4, about a 90-degree left. Turn 5 is going to be heavy on the gas, no braking. Turn 6, as you see here, is going to be a left, slightly graded turn. Turn 7, you can kind of accelerate through. That'll be a right turn. Turn 8 and 9 can take you by surprise. You got to make sure you hit those brakes coming in turn 8, and then you can accelerate through turn 9, that left-handed turn. This takes you on a bit of a straight, kind of, sort of, and then 10 is a full right turn all the way around. That's a full 180 degrees turn here. Turn 11 just banks a little to the left. You won't see too much braking there. Same with turn 12, a little tiny break into the right. Right there, you folks just saw that. This takes you into what is known as the Wall of Champions here in Montreal. This very quick right into a left, very easy, especially with wet track. So overcompensate just a little bit and put yourself into that wall right out of turn 14. And that's pretty much all she wrote. Those are the 14 turns that we have here in Canada. Again, this track is about 4.25 kilometers long. I misspoke earlier, there are 3 DRS zones. So definitely chances to overtake. It is rather tight, though, here at the circuit Guillet-Villenois. So hold tight, and we'll see what qualifying brings us here. As we saw, Trulson set a time good enough for P5. Let's Get Fiscal setting a pace good for P6 currently in qualifying. Let's go ahead and take a look at Melon Garden coming out of turn 10, seeing if he can set himself a nice time here. And again, these drivers are going to want to set these times as quickly as possible because this rain is only going to get worse, and it's going to make setting those quicker times more and more difficult. As we see, Vapor Cobalt set a very good minute, just under a minute and 19 seconds on his qualifying time. Very, very nice. The only person in the minute 18 so far. As we see Greeny retire from the session, he will be serving a quali ban in this race. So he will start at the back of the grid. We saw him do some really good work last week from the back of the grid. Or last Friday, I should say, from the back of the grid. So certainly don't rule him out just because he happens to be starting at the back of the grid. But definitely something to keep an eye on. Let's see, as we see Melon come across the finish line, setting just over a minute and 23 seconds. So good for back of the pack right now. We'll see. Word Cloud, unfortunately, will not set a time this lap. Vapor Trench is still in the pits. Interesting indeed, because he probably, like I said, wants to go ahead and set that time sooner rather than later. We'll have to see what happens there. Meanwhile, Nicholas Volkman will hop on board with Nicholas Volkman. And we'll see what comes of this hot lap here from Nicholas Volkman, who's approaching the end of Sector 2, which brings up that hard 180-degree right turn. Turn 10 here, you see the wheels really lock up, but very nice work for him for getting the most out of that corner. Currently, if we take a look at the table, where we are at through 8 races in Bette Jalle F1, Vapor Cobalt leads the way with 100 points. He is a reserve driver, ladies and gentlemen, who has just been earning points left and right. In fact, last Friday in Azerbaijan, he won his second race of the season after also winning the first race in Great Britain. So excellent work from Vapor Cobalt. Meanwhile, Greeny's in second place, only 2 points behind. Greeny, of course, the winner of 3 separate races. Not to mention a second place finish on Friday, so excellent work from Greeny with 98 points. As I said earlier, he will be serving that quali ban, so definitely a lot of work to do for Greeny if he wants to maintain his position in the table. As we see, Volkman set a very nice time, good for P11. That's not too bad considering the conditions here in Canada. Vapor Trench is now currently on his outlap. We'll hang out with Vapor Trench for just a little while to see what he can do on this outlap. So meanwhile, Big Baguette, going back to the table, is currently in 3rd place with 95 points. So our top 3 racers through 8 races are separated only by 5 points. That's Vapor Cobalt in 1st, Greeny in 2nd, and Big Baguette in 3rd. You know, as we talked about a little bit on Friday, Big Baguette still looking for his first win of the season, but managing to really secure top 5 finishes in every race that he started, with the exception of Friday where he finished 6th. Still, I would say, pretty darn consistent. So Big Baguette will look to keep up that consistency. Meanwhile, down the table just a little bit at 77 points is Vapor Trench. Let's Get Fiscal, currently in 5th place with 68 points. Now, those are our top 5, and then we really have to drop down to find our next driver, Trulson, in 6th place with 38 points. So 30 points behind Let's Get Fiscal through 8 races of the season. 7th would be Red Sniper, 8th Justice, 9th KJ, 10th Elian, and 11th Melon. And between 6th and 11th, place. There's only 10 points separating those drivers, so definitely a good chance to maybe get something done and make some moves from those kind of mid-tier drivers as they jockey about for position coming into here in Canada. So last week we talked a little bit about Azerbaijan. You know, Vapor Cobalt did earn the win as we see Vapor Trench on his hot lap. We'll see what he can offer up here as the rain does start to come down heavier and heavier. So definitely has his work cut out for him. Does Vapor Trench as he sets no sweat from Vapor Trench. Sets a very smooth looking minute and 18 seconds and just over 9/10. Only a little over 100th of a second behind Vapor Cobalt, so no sweat from Vapor Trench. Did a really nice job. So waiting on a few hot laps here. We'll hop on with Worried Cloud to see if he can set himself a time and maybe climb that leaderboard for qualification, maybe just a little bit. So as I was saying, in Azerbaijan, Vapor Cobalt took first. Greeny took second. We saw him slide all the way back in the table, back into, I believe it was something like 15th or 16th, and then he came back and took second in that race, so excellent work from him. Elian Bayan took his first podium on Friday, so excellent work from Elian, earning third place at Azerbaijan. Justice, after securing the win in F2 the week before at the Baku City circuit, Justice pulls off a fourth place finish in the F1 race, and Trulson finishes in fifth at Azerbaijan. So with only about 6 minutes left in qualifying, we are approaching all of our drivers, with the exception of Reflection, have set a time now. In fact, let's take a look on Reflection as he will do his best to set a pretty solid minute and 20, maybe 3/10 of a second, just over. Puts him in P13 currently. So all of our drivers have turned in times, with the exception of Greeny serving that quali ban. So we'll have to see if there are any more laps turned in as this rain does begin to come down just a little bit harder. I can't imagine we're really going to see too many faster laps than what we've seen, but if we do, I'll be here to bring it to you live. As we see Fiscal invalidate, pull over to let a few drivers by. Let's see if Trulson can improve on that minute and 19 and 5/10 of a second. Alrighty, folks. So we don't see Trulson improve on the time, but Red Sniper we see move up to 5th. Let's see. So right now it stands with Vapor Cobalt earning pole position. Again, a reserve driver who's really making his name known. Vapor Trench, meanwhile, will start in P2. Big Baguette looks like he'll comfortably start in P3. Let's Get Fiscal will start in P4. Red Sniper, it seems, will start in P5. Trulson will start in P6. KJ, P7. As you see, KJ set invalid lap time there. Brent Stelton, P8. Justice, P9. Elian Bayan will start in P11, it looks like. He is on his way out to maybe try to set a better time, but I just can't imagine with this rain pouring, we'll see that. In fact, we'll just stick right here with Elian through this hot lap. It should be a lot of fun here in the heavy rain. Nicholas Volkmann looks like he's set to start P12. Reflection P13, Colin P14, Josh Smith in this P15, Worried Cloud P16, Sticks P17, Gourlay P18, and Melon Garden P19. Meanwhile, we'll see what Elian can offer up here. It just really seems maybe a little too wet to really be able to get much done. See how Elian handles this 180 turn here. Very nice from him indeed. He does spin it just a little bit coming out of that turn. Again, these conditions are pretty wet. And we'll see if Elian can avoid becoming a victim of the Wall of Champions. In fact, we will see him head into the pits. So like I said, just really not able to get much done with how wet this track now is. And it seems like we are getting most of our drivers to go ahead and retire. Looks like Big Baguette might be out in the rain having a little bit of fun. Let's see what Big Baguette offers here in the pouring rain. Let's see what kind of lap time we get from Big Baguette here in the rain. Let's see what he can give to us. As he comes, oh, he's already invalidated, in fact. So let's take a look at Vapor Cobalt. Let's see if he can offer us some fun here in the rain as he starts his hot lap. Coming around the first couple of turns, heading into turn 3 momentarily here. And of course 4 with the left turn, already kind of getting a little aggressive with the corner cutting. We'll have to see if he can avoid invalidating this lap. Best I can tell, Vapor Cobalt pretty much has earned the pole, so I'm not entirely sure what his game plan is here. Might just be looking to have some fun, you know, see what kind of time he can turn in on this super wet track here in Canada. Certainly wish the best for him. Definitely seems like he's having decent success. Now, that being said, he's still about a second behind his lap that he set earlier. But given the circumstances, I'd say he's still on pace for a very respectable lap. Given just how hard this rain is really just coming down and pelting us here in Canada. And he will just head on into those pits, retiring from the quali session and setting us up for our race start, where the forecast is looking much more promising. Certainly maybe still cloudy, but shouldn't be any precipitation, and for the most part the circuit should be relatively dry. So with Elian's podium finish last week, he'll crack the top 10 of the table. As we mentioned earlier, he's sitting pretty with 30 points now after earning 18, very well-earned points on Friday. So he's currently in 10th in the table. Yeah, and Big Baguette finishing outside the top 5 on Friday was certainly something that I did not expect after week in and week out, managing to secure a top 5 finish really since week 2. So let's get Fiscal and Vapor Trench will be really having their work cut out for them, having to get something done here if they want to catch up to those leaders on the table. Vapor Trench with 77 points. Let's get Fiscal with 68. Currently, about 25 to 30 points off the pace set by Vapor Cobalt at the top of the table with 100 points. So they certainly have their work cut out for them and a bit of an uphill battle. But all of that can start with a decent result in Canada. As the timer for the session hits 20 seconds, we'll see these drivers take their places on the grid. We'll see a nice, soothing formation lap, and then we'll get into the race proper and see if the Wall of Champions claims any more victims here today in Canada. Certainly hoping not, but we'll certainly see. So our lap record in F1 currently sits at 1 minute and 13 seconds. I'm sure we'll see that beaten today. That was set in 2019. I'm sure our drivers are eager to push past that particular lap record. As we see Vapor Cobalt setting the pace in this formation lap. Just all of these drivers waggling the wheels, getting that temperature right where they need it to be to hopefully get the best and most effective start that they can. I would say my early driver to watch for driver of the day would be Greeny, who's starting back in P20. But, you know, like I was talking about a little earlier, you can never really count Greeny out. He's going to drive aggressively. He might make the odd mistake here and there, but his pace is truly incredible. And that being said, even starting back in P20, he still certainly has a shot in this particular race. And we'll see our drivers come on down through turns 13 and 14 into the grid. And we'll wait for these drivers to take their place. And we'll wait for these lights to turn on and then go out. And we will be underway here in Canada. 35 laps today. Should be a lot of fun. And ladies and gentlemen, we are all but away here. As we see the lights go on. And now off, and our drivers are away. Let's see what kind of action we get on this first corner or two as... let's see, it looks like Vapor Cobalt is looking okay through the first couple of turns. Let's see here. No yellow flags on the track. It looks like all of our drivers are through cleanly. Ooh, I'm not sure who that was that just hit the grass, but that certainly is not what they wanted to see. Ooh, a lot of contact as the Red Bull driver gets spun out. Oh, geez, that's got to be... That would be Brent Stelton, unfortunately getting spun out there. Let's see, as Vapor Cobalt is opening up a bit of a lead, about a second and a half over Vapor Trench. Meanwhile, we see Big Baguette right on Vapor Trench's tail. See if everyone gets through this corner 14. It's looking like they'll be okay. Yes, indeed. And we see Word Cloud heading to the pits. I'm assuming Word Cloud is the driver who maybe bumped into Brent Stelton and caused a bit of a spin out from Brent Stelton. Ooh, and we see the wing coming off of Vapor Trench there. I'm not sure what happened, but he's lost his right wing, and it looks like he's on the track, not moving, waiting for these drivers to go by, having to concede so many positions as he doesn't want to cause any incidents. So that's good sportsmanship from Vapor Trench, but unfortunately that will have him end up back in P19. Definitely not what he wanted to see after being in P2 just moments ago. Meanwhile, Big Baguette will now get to work on chasing down Vapor Cobalt as we see Elian get passed first by Bazooka and then Reflection after. Elian, our other Red Bull driver, we saw Brent Stelton already get spun out, so Elian is the Red Bull driver who will look to get something done, again finishing in third on Friday, so certainly has the momentum. As Let's Get Fiscal, we definitely see a bit of contact there. The top in the seat as we see very close driving here with Bazooka, KJ, Let's Get Fiscal. And we see Bazooka take the cut on Let's Get Fiscal. And we see Reflection just head right past Elian like he's not moving. Although Elian will move past him on the inside there pretty shortly thereafter. Still very, very close driving here between these two. Love to see what happens as they come up to this very difficult wall of champions. And it looks like they're through just fine. Let's Get Fiscal has headed to the pits. So that'll cost him a few positions. I'm assuming he took a little bit of damage off of Bazooka or Elian's passes moments ago. Meanwhile, Vapor Trench is now in the back of the grid. Word Cloud P19, Let's Get Fiscal P18. So both of those drivers, Vapor Trench and Let's Get Fiscal, have certainly lost a couple positions that they probably didn't want to see happen, especially early on in this race. So meanwhile, we'll take a look down at Justice, looking to get a move done on Red Sniper, back about half of a second. And it looks like he's going to succeed, no problem, in getting that move done and moving past Red Sniper quite simply. So excellent work from Justice there. Meanwhile, if we check in with Greeny on those medium tires, has already moved up to P10, starting this race in P20, so that's a position change of 10. Like I said, Greeny is just one of those guys that you can't count out, regardless of his starting position in the grid. He just has tremendous pace. He can really make the most out of other drivers' mistakes and miscues. And as we see him be very aggressive here, trying to get a move done on KJ to move up to P9. We'll just kind of hang tight here with Greeny for a moment. See if he can use this DRS to slip by KJ, who in turn probably also had the DRS there, so it would have been tough. We see Josh Smith in this pick up a 3-second time penalty. And we're seeing quite a train form up, really all the way up through Bazooka. So 6th through 10th are very, very close to each other. And we see more trouble from Vapor Trench, who's just having a miserable race so far. As that yellow flag was for Vapor Trench. I'm not sure if it was a spin out or a wall hit. But we definitely saw Vapor Trench slowing down on the mini-map. And we'll stay right here with this 5-car train. As Greeny takes a look at the inside of KJ, doesn't quite make the move yet, but certainly thinking about it. Meanwhile, KJ just picked up a penalty. Definitely not what he wanted to see there. Greeny's getting maybe a little closer than he needs to the corner, as Big Baguette also picks up a 3-second time penalty. So Vapor Cobalt's looking very, very good. Top of the table right now, looking to continue that in Canada. So we see KJ right on the back fender of Reflection. Like Red Sniper has visited the pits and switched on some hard tires, so might be looking to see how long into the race he can take those, as we see Greeny very close, playing with fire there, almost lost it into that wall of champions, manages to keep it on the track, so excellent work from him. And we'll see if Nicholas Volkman can join this train. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he quite has the pace, and gets passed fairly easily by Brent Stelton, who we saw get spun out earlier on in this race, I believe by Worried Cloud. Not 100% sure on that, so Worried Cloud, please don't hate me if you're watching this back and you didn't do it. But we will try to get to the bottom of that. Meanwhile, heading back up to Greeny, now under 0.3 of a second behind KJ. I mean, this is very, very tight. We do see Elian start to peel away a little bit from Bazooka. So very much turning into a 4-car train. If Greeny wants to keep pace with Elian, he's going to have to get by this sooner rather than later. Meanwhile, we see an absolute defensive clinic being put on by KJ and Reflection. Not really letting anyone through. Gourlay picks up the 3-second time penalty. And we will see Greeny go ahead and get the pass done on KJ there. So 1 driver down, 2 to go, and Greeny will now set his sights on Reflection and see what he can get done. Meanwhile, we're seeing quite an interesting battle between Styx and Volkman. Might go ahead and take a look at that, see if Styx can maybe catch up to Nicholas Volkman. Oh, we have a safety car. Oh dear, so it looks like Gourlay, bad luck for him. Not entirely sure where on the track that happened. Ooh, that is really bad luck for Gourlay, so he will not finish today here in Canada. But we will have a safety car that might allow Vapor Trench to kind of get back in it, although I think he's got to sit tight since he has been lapped. Ooh. Saw Mellengarden take a lot of contact with the wall there as I was flipping through. That's not what you want to see from him. Meanwhile, Vapor Cobalt, probably not what he wanted to see, as we see all of these drivers here at the top go ahead and pit. Elian stays out on the track. He'll take, he'll start in first, be directly behind that safety car, and be the one to reset us. So good work from Elian so far. Meanwhile, Greeny will also stay out on the track into second. So starting in 20th, and now Greeny all the way up into second. I mean, geez, good work indeed from Greeny, making up 18 positions through the first 9 laps of this race. Meanwhile, Vapor Cobalt will head out of the pits in 3rd. Big Baguette will head out of the pits in 4th. Trulson heads out of the pits in 5th. Justice heads out of the pits in 6th. Colin decides not to pit, will move up to 7th. Reflection out of the pits in 8th. Bazooka Joe will come out of the pits in 9th. KJ will switch to some hard tires and come out in 10th. Brent Stelton will be in 11th. Red Sniper stays out on the track through the safety car with those relatively new hards. He'll move up to 12th. Styx, meanwhile, will switch out his tires, be in 13th. Fiscal will keep it on the track and move into 14th. Josh Smith in his 15th. Word Cloud 16th, Melon Garden 17th, and wow, looks like Nicholas Volkman has also decided to retire from this race. That's a shame, and Vapor Trench as well. Looks like he's out. I'm not entirely sure why. It looks like he's still here, so I'm not entirely sure why he has a disqualifying. Maybe letting the safety car pass him, but it looks like Vapor Trench is out of this race. Really a shame for him, as he could have used the points here in Canada. He will be disqualified, though, unfortunately. We'll have to take a look at that and figure out what exactly happened to earn himself a disqualification. Meanwhile, as I said, Elian and Greeny are on those 9-lap mediums, so they will have to pit probably in the next few laps. But very nice work by Greeny, moving up all of those positions to currently be in second. In fact, if we take a look at position changes, we'll see Greeny's moved up 18 positions, Elian's moved up 10, so certainly our two big winners. That being said, both of them will have to pit after the safety car. Maybe in the next 3 to 4 laps, I would imagine, if they want to put on the hards. They might take it another maybe even 10 laps if they want to take a chance on softs after the safety car. And it looks like we are going to get a restart here as we see the safety car turn off the lights and peel away. So Elian will look to get the best restart he can, as Greeny eagerly awaits to see what he can do to gain on Elian. And in fact, we'll see what happens here. We'll stay on Vapor Cobalt to see what Elian decides to do on this restart and when he decides to really punch it. Doesn't look like he's going to get quite the restart he wanted, although it does kind of take Greeny a little unaware, and Vapor Cobalt takes a peek at that right side but backs off. Really thought about it there for a moment. Right off of the safety car, Brent Stelton picks up a 3-second time penalty. A little fun factoid from last year, Justice, one of our favorite drivers, managed to pick up 24 seconds of penalties on this track last season. So certainly a record that will hopefully remain in place through today, but definitely a fun little factoid. If it comes up at your neighborhood bar for trivia, you will have the answer for who earned 24 seconds of penalties in Canada during Season 7 of Bette, Jalle. See these drivers here at the top still very, very close. Elian will have to play defensively, as Vapor Cobalt will be on those fresh mediums, and of course we all know about Greeny and his pace, so Elian will have to do his best to fend off these next two drivers. Take advantage of no DRS for the next couple of laps, and really just do his best to play defense. That being said, with Elian leading the way, it should keep our pack nice and tight, close together. We do see Let's Get Fiscal move up pretty decently. In fact, we'll go ahead and take a look at Let's Get Fiscal, as we've seen him move up a few positions, and he's now working on KJ around the outside of turn 2. Looks like he's going to take a peek on the outside. Going to have to be, see Vapor Cobalt pick up a 3-second time penalty. That's not what we want to see. Meanwhile, Let's Get Fiscal will pass by KJ, no problem. And now set his sights on Red Sniper. Fiscal certainly not exactly the best case scenario, starting this race, ending up near the back of the pack. We'll have to see, as Trulson also picks up a 3-second time penalty. Very, very tight we see back here, as Word Cloud looks to pass maybe a couple, and we see Melon Garden lose it back there behind, and he's going to be fine getting back on the track, but definitely not what he wanted to see. Meanwhile, Word Cloud looks like he's having a little trouble with the tire temps as well. See if he can avoid this wall here. Coming out of turn 14, he does indeed. Meanwhile, Brett Stelton sets the fastest lap at 1 minute and 12 seconds. So very close at the top of the table. That was just a little bit too much fun not to take a look at. So close, all up and down here. As we see a yellow flag in sector 3, right near that finish line. That looks like it's Worried Cloud, and it must have been Worried Cloud as Trulson is currently in the pits. Still very, very close here at the top. Meanwhile, Let's Get Fiscal has made it past Red Sniper and sends Red Sniper into the wall. I didn't quite get over quick enough to see exactly what happened there, but definitely not what Let's Get Fiscal was probably meaning to do, sending Red Sniper into the wall there. Red Sniper did well to not take any tire damage, as now Let's Get Fiscal will do his best to chase down Colin. Certainly maybe a little bit more aggressive than we normally see Let's Get Fiscal driving. We have yellow flags all over the track at this point, as we see 6 pick up a 3-second time penalty. Heading back up to the top, still Vapor Cobalt in third and Greeny in second, both trying to chase down Elian. Meanwhile, Red Sniper, after that being spun out, picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Certainly less than ideal for that young man. Alien still leading the way with those 13-lap-old mediums. I know Greeny is probably itching to get by Alien and try to set a little bit of separation before he has to head into the pits. Alien will get a 3-second penalty there for a bit of corner cutting after getting multiple warnings. And Greeny looks like he's going to take the chance here to go inside, and it will be a double overtake as both Greeny and Vapor Cobalt pass through Alien, who now is giving up positions left and right. I'm not entirely sure what caused the loss of pace from Alien. I don't think he's got any tire issues, but he will head into the pit. Maybe a puncture, I'm not entirely sure, but he was overtaken by 5 drivers very, very quickly there as he heads into the pit. Meanwhile, Greeny with those 14-lap-old mediums now will go into the lead. Still quite the train behind Greeny, as Let's Get Fiscal moves up to 7th after having passed Colin and, of course, Elian in the pits. So he gets to work now on Reflection. But we'll stay right here for now with Brett Stelton looking to overtake Justice, Vapor Cobalt, and Greeny. In fact, we'll flip on up to Vapor Cobalt right on Greeny with those medium tires that are pretty much in the prime of their life. So Greeny will do his best to hold off for as long as he can, but he will have to make a visit to the pit stops, and we are seeing penalties here left and right as KJ now picks up a 3-second time penalty. As Vapor Cobalt flips the switch on the DRS and will pass Greeny on the outside. Looks like a clean pass. As we see Greeny and Justice right behind, with Brent Stelton right behind Justice. So Vapor Cobalt will now go up into first position as we see these top 4 drivers very, very close. One right on top of the other. And it looks like Big Baguette is jonesing to join the party. Let's Get Fiscal about 1.5 seconds behind Reflection. Should have the pace to catch up to Reflection, I would imagine. But now we have a 5-car train at the top of our grid. So certainly a lot of fun. We'll have to see if these drivers can keep it close as we see Justice lose it there. Oh, that's bad luck for Justice. Spins out and he's going to lose several positions. Meanwhile, that also slowed down Brent Stelton, and Big Baguette able to get by both those 2 drivers into 3rd place now. Definitely enough, however, to slow down both Greeny and Big Baguette, and Vapor Cobalt takes advantage and into first position now with a 1.5 second lead. Justice has got to be just furious after that. Maybe a bit of a bump from Brett Stelton, but really just lost it and into the wall. Meanwhile, Trulson is, I would imagine, probably on his way out of this race as he lets the pack through a second time. Meanwhile, Melon Garden also DNF'd. That happened while we were watching the Justice collision. And Let's Get Fiscal now has slipped all the way back up to 6th. So nice work for him. As Justice picks up another penalty, and in fact, in the top 6, Fiscal and Greeny, the only two drivers without a penalty to their name yet. Certainly we do see penalties all up and down this grid. It could certainly come into play, especially with how close everything is from top to bottom. As Let's Get Fiscal now joins this train, fighting for P3. Brent Stilton less than a second behind Big Baguette, and now Big Baguette less than a second behind Greeny. So it seems likely that we may see some interesting work here from Let's Get Fiscal. He's got to keep that pace going. Greeny will head into the pits, so he will go ahead and get those fresh soft tires. Interesting choice to go with the softs. I'm not sure the softs will take him 17 laps. So he might be setting himself up for another pit, or maybe hoping for a safety car. Definitely an interesting choice. Meanwhile, Let's Get Fiscal has moved his way all the way back up to 5th. And he will do his best to chase down Reflection, who in turn is right on Brent Stelton. Brent Stelton, not exactly a driver who you see visiting a podium very often. Currently with only 16 points this season, definitely a chance to earn some serious points here is Brent Stelton. He's in really good position. Will have to pit, unfortunately, with those 9-lap-old softs, but showing good pace with those softs, so hopefully we'll get a little bit of luck and stay in the points here in Canada. Reflection, meanwhile, we see will pass Brent Stelton on those mediums, and Brent Stelton is into the pits, we just saw there. Red Sniper picks up another penalty, and Let's Get Fiscal into 4th place now. Nice work from him, working all the way back up to his original starting position of 4th. Now, of course, work to do on catching Reflection, who is on the same composite tire, but 1 lap older, so Fiscal will hope that his mediums can give him the pace he needs, as we are probably going to see pits from all of these top 10 or so drivers. Seems likely. Alien might be able to take it to the end. KJ theoretically could take it to the end, but I don't see that happening. As we see, Fiscal coming up to turn 10, looking very nice. We'll get some DRS here to try to track down Reflection, who has less than a second lead on Let's Get Fiscal. Meanwhile, bit of a fight back here as Josh Smithness and KJ ride the back of Bazooka Joe, doing their best to make up a little bit of time. Meanwhile, we see Greeny joining this pack with tremendous pace, as always, especially on those soft tires. I imagine that, yeah, as we just saw Greeny set just over 1 minute and 10 seconds on that lap. I mean, wow. Guy just has tremendous pace and does not quit. Now he'll move past Josh Smithness with the intention of passing KJ next. We'll just keep it right here with Greeny for a little while so you viewers can see what tremendous pace Greeny can offer. Greeny, early on through the season, kind of seemed like he was a win or bust type of driver. See him make the move now on KJ and look to have an eye on that P6 of Bazooka. As Greeny tended to only get wins or DNFs. Didn't get a lot of results in the points. Kind of broke that streak on Friday when he finished in 2nd and earned some very nice points without winning a race. Currently has won the most races season 8 of any driver with 3 under his belt. So Greeny doing very nice work, and I mean, just look at this pace as he just pulls away from Bazooka and KJ. Bazooka, meanwhile, picks up a 3-second time penalty, so we're definitely going to have to take a look at penalties at some point. and see where we are at. Vapor Cobalt, meanwhile, has opened up a 3-second lead on Big Baguette. Very nice work from Vapor Cobalt. Reflection, meanwhile, has caught up to Big Baguette, only half a second behind, and has managed to put a little bit of distance between himself and Let's Get Fiscal. And we did see Trulson DNF, as I anticipated. So he will, and we see Red Sniper now retire from the session. Wow. So we've had 6 drivers who will not finish this race. That is quite a few. None of them have really gone up in a big explosion or anything like that, but certainly kind of whittling away at our drivers, as we'll see Reflection get the pass done on Big Baguette. Reflection not really known for his pace, but enough here to get the move done on Big Baguette. So very nice work from Reflection. Reflection, of course, currently in 20th in the table with only 11 points. Now in 2nd place, and honestly will need to pit with the rest of this crew, so very much in the running for a podium, I would imagine. Meanwhile, Let's Get Fiscal looks to chase down Big Baguette. I'm not entirely sure. As we see Greeny pick up a 3-second time penalty. So now Let's Get Fiscal, the only driver in the top 8 without a penalty. Definitely could come into play with how tight things still are. Definitely could earn himself a spot on the podium just from not making these mental mistakes that the other drivers are, as Let's Get Fiscal is narrowing that gap on Big Baguette. Meanwhile, Reflection is pulling away just a little bit from Big Baguette. And we'll see if Let's Get Fiscal can find a way to chase down Big Baguette. Big Baguette usually with very, very nice pace. But currently kind of losing time on Reflection ahead of him. Greeny, meanwhile, has moved up to P5 after the pit from Justice. KJ picks up another 3-second time penalty. Not exactly what KJ wanted. We'll have to see what happens here at the top. Meanwhile, let's take a look down at Colin, riding side by side with Worried Cloud. We'll have to really keep an eye on this as they go side by side, joined now by Elian. As they go kind of 3 wide, does Colin, Worried Cloud, and Elian. It looks like Colin's gonna be okay passing Worried Cloud, and Elian unable to get too much done. Kind of just keep it here just for a minute to see how they handle these corners. Elian looks to maybe make a move on Worried Cloud. Brent Stelton, meanwhile, picks up a 3-second time penalty. So Brent Stelton, who was in the top 3 not too long ago, now all the way down in 14. Definitely not what he wanted, especially with now that added penalty. And Elian will make the move on Worried Cloud, getting it done on the straightaway. And now sets his sights on Colin as all these drivers do manage to stay off the wall in that dreaded turn 14. Let's Get Fiscal has narrowed the gap down to under half a second on Big Baguette, who Big Baguette is now 2 seconds back behind Reflection. Not entirely sure what happened to Big Baguette's pace. He normally shows very impressive pace through these races, but seemingly allowing Let's Get Fiscal right into it. Let's Get Fiscal, of course, not exactly a slow driver by any stretch of the imagination, but not known for his tremendous pace. Really just a driver that doesn't make a lot of mistakes and stays consistent. And that's kind of his whole game plan. As you see, Big Baguette will head into the pits, and now we'll see a new leader with Let's Get Fiscal. Vapor Cobalt, Reflection, and Big Baguette all decide to pit. Meanwhile, Let's Get Fiscal stays out on the track. Greeny does as well on the 7-lap old softs. As we see all of those drivers pit onto soft tires that they will look to take to the end of the race. We'll have to see where they all come out. Does Vapor Cobalt, Reflection, and Big Baguette. It seems like Reflection is out pretty quickly along with Vapor Cobalt in 4th and 5th. Styx now will be the next driver on the chopping block as he is out of this race. Big Baguette, meanwhile, coming out in P7, just behind Justice. So we'll see Let's Get Fiscal and Greeny fight it out. Greeny on the softer composite tires will not have trouble passing Let's Get Fiscal, and he'll get that move done successfully. He'll start to pull away, and Let's Get Fiscal will certainly have to start thinking about a pit stop, knowing that Greeny probably will not be able to take those soft tires through the last 10 laps here. There's no way they'll last quite that long. But Let's Get Fiscal likewise can't expect his medium tires to last another 10 laps, so certainly we'll see a pit stop from him, I would imagine, relatively soon. Definitely going to see some interesting faces possibly on the podium here in Canada. Could be something to, you know, really keep your eye on. Meanwhile, as Greeny starts to pull away from Fiscal, we will look for close battles and find it in the likes of Colin, about a second behind Elian. Colin will see if he can chase down Elian. Elian has run a pretty smooth race, I would imagine, starting in P10. Now it's P8. So overall, nothing to be too upset about. You know, Greeny just might be deciding to take a chance here because, you know, he qualified back in P20 after serving a qualification ban. Started at the back of the grid. He will head into the pits now, but he's found himself all the way up in P1. I mean, truly incredible. Vapor Cobalt will take back the lead with Let's Get Fiscal and Greeny pitting. We'll have to see where these two drivers come out of the pits. Let's see, Let's Get Fiscal will come out side by side with Justice, maybe just behind Justice, and Greeny slips just ahead of Justice. So Justice sandwiched between those two as they come out of the pits. And Greeny throws on another pair of softs, and Fiscal does as well. And KJ now has found himself all the way up in P2. So very nice for him. We'll have to see if KJ can keep it up. KJ, of course, could use the points. Currently in 9th with 35 points. So I do think that he will have to, unfortunately, visit the pits or risk a puncture or a blowout. So I imagine KJ will not be able to finish the race on those cards. But we will keep an eye on it. Certainly wouldn't begrudge him for trying. As Reflection still looking like he's going to give it his all to get a podium here. He's got soft tires that should see him through the end of the race. Only 2-lap olds. So Reflection, as long as he can keep that pace, stay ahead of Greeny, should be in decent enough shape. Looks like Reflection is gaining on KJ with those very old hard tires. KJ probably not getting quite the pace that he needs. Big Baguette, meanwhile, picks up a 3-second time penalty. And of course, let's not forget that Let's Get Fiscal does not have penalties. So Let's Get Fiscal still a very legitimate shot at finding himself on the podium as we see Reflection move past KJ. You know, I've got to say, I've been very impressed with Reflection's pace in this race. He's done a very nice job. Moved up 11 positions, which would be, you know, the story of the race, except that we've seen Greeny 1 position behind, having moved up 17 positions. Meanwhile, Greeny does look like he is going to be able to pass Reflection to make it 18 positions. So definitely Greeny and Reflection, the two drivers that have really been standouts today. Vapor Cobalt, meanwhile, with that qualifying time, I believe he started in first and will just stay in first the rest of the way. Good work for Vapor Cobalt kind of doing what he did last week, where he just stayed out in front of everyone and ran a clean race, and, you know, looked really, really good. You know, on those soft tires, 4-lap olds, he should be just fine to take those to the end of the race. Meanwhile, Let's Get Fiscal. Looks like he needs to get this move done on KJ if he wants to keep up and have a shot at a podium. He's got to get around KJ sooner rather than later. KJ on those 20-lap old hards, also having just picked up a penalty, as does Justice, both 3-second penalties. Fiscal's going to try to make a move on the outside of this corner here as they go 3 wide. And it looks like Fiscal will get that move done, move up to P4, now 2.5 seconds or so behind Reflection. And Greeny is getting to work on chasing down Vapor Cobalt. Only 5 laps to make up 7 seconds. I don't see that happening. Of course, I would love to be proven wrong. If anyone has the pace to make a go at it, it is Greeny. Meanwhile, Big Baguette now chasing down Let's Get Fiscal after having joined Let's Get Fiscal in passing KJ. We'll have to see if Big Baguette can make a move on Let's Get Fiscal. You know, as I previously mentioned, Let's Get Fiscal does not have penalties, whereas every other driver, with the exception of Colin, does. Can certainly come into play. As we see Big Baguette maybe oversteer just a little bit on that corner. Loses it just a little bit and therefore finds himself well outside of a second behind Let's Get Fiscal. Meanwhile, we'll see KJ after also being passed by Justice on those 21-lap old hards. I just imagine he's not really getting a lot out of those hards right now, is KJ. He should be okay if he wants to take him to the end. I can't imagine he'll lose 11 seconds of pace over the next 5 laps. But, you know, we've seen crazier things, and certainly the worst thing that KJ could, you know, ask for is a blowout or a puncture and costing himself some points. I don't see KJ really being able to make a move past P7, but I also think that if he keeps his nose clean, he should finish at that P7 relatively easily. Meanwhile, Let's Get Fiscal looking to chase down Reflection, only a second back. Certainly will have some good luck penalty-wise. Really has a chance if he can move past Reflection and close the gap on Green. He might even have a chance for a P2. Not entirely sure what kind of. Let's see if we can just see the amount of time penalties we have. Vapor Cobalt has 9 seconds of penalties. Wow, that could certainly come into play. Greeny 3 seconds of penalties. Reflection 3 seconds of penalties. KJ trying to maybe take a little look at Justice's record of 24 seconds last season with 15 seconds. I'm not sure, you know, I'm starting to think that KJ maybe wants to, I honestly don't know. It looks like he's going to be out of the top 10 regardless with those penalties having stacked up. But we'll definitely keep an eye on that as we see Let's Get Fiscal now inside of 7/10 of a second on Reflection. And with the 9 seconds of penalties, Greeny might be able to edge in just ahead of Vapor Cobalt. A net difference of 6 seconds worth of penalties there. Meanwhile, Fiscal's really got to start chasing down Reflection. I think we could say Let's Get Fiscal will almost certainly earn a podium here. The question is it a P3 or a P2? And I think the answer to that question is almost certainly P3 seems to be the ceiling for Let's Get Fiscal here. Stelton maybe taking a look at slipping in that top 10. See if you can get past Josh Smith in this. Now a half second back behind, but we'll have to leave this just for a moment to go check on Let's Get Fiscal. Now about a half second behind Reflection. Still about 2.5 laps to get it done on Reflection, and really, you know, locking down that P3. You'd have to cut off about a second and a half from Greeny. I just don't see that happening because Greeny just has the pace. He really, really does. But certainly still a shot for Let's Get Fiscal to get that podium, possibly move up to P2, but I just don't see it with Reflection running an absolute clinic defensively, keeping Let's Get Fiscal from passing. Let's Get Fiscal knows he's going to earn some good points. I don't think he wants to take a chance here. I think he kind of knows, has an idea of all of the penalties up and down this grid, and at this point is content to just make sure that he earns the points for P3, as he almost made a big mistake there on the outside of Reflection. Luckily, he did see it in time and backed off. I would imagine the one thing that could absolutely ruin Let's Get Fiscal's day is if he takes some kind of damage, gets sent to a wall, gets spun out. Honestly, his best bet is just to kind of take it nice and easy. If he sees an opening in a DRS zone, get the pass in there. But certainly don't do anything foolish, Let's Get Fiscal, and earn yourself, at least 18 points. We do see Big Baguette right on the back of Let's Get Fiscal. Big Baguette, of course, also with the penalty, so not much of a threat, I would imagine, for Let's Get Fiscal and his podium ambitions. Meanwhile, Reflection is now falling back almost 9 seconds behind Greeny as he continues to play defense on Let's Get Fiscal. We'll hop back up onto Let's Get Fiscal's car as we see them on this 180-degree turn of turn 10. Still pretty close, but again, I really would hope that Let's Get Fiscal plays it smart here, and he will go ahead and take this nice, easy pass in this DRS zone. Very smart from him. Hopefully he manages to keep it on the track through turns 13 and 14, and he does. So Let's Get Fiscal now feeling very good. Has secured his podium spot, I would imagine, as we have entered our final lap here. Meanwhile, Greeny now 2 seconds behind Vapor Cobalt. So with the penalty, it looks like Greeny will get the win. Ooh, Big Baguette loses it, and he's out of the race. That's a DNF. Let's see if we can see what happened as we see him right on the middle of the track. Justice looks like he was slowed down quite a bit too. Not sure what happened there, but that's really bad luck for Big Baguette. It's been an absolute picture of consistency coming into this race. Definitely not what we want to see. Meanwhile, the top two in the table, Vapor Cobalt and Greeny, both seem like they'll finish P1, P2. It seems like Greeny will very easily have the difference in penalties to get P1, and Vapor Cobalt will finish in P2. I would imagine Let's Get Fiscal will end up in P3. I don't think he's got the pace in his final lap to catch these folks. As we see, Vapor Cobalt will finish second, Greeny first. Let's Get Fiscal coming across the finish line in third, with Reflection right behind him in fourth. We'll have to see how these penalties come into play on these next few finishers. It looks like KJ has tons and tons of penalties, so certainly won't pass Reflection. In fact, he'll get passed by Justice and possibly by Elian, but I don't think, yes, he will indeed get passed by Elian. And let's see if Bazooka also will keep slotting KJ down. Josh Smithness will slot in behind KJ, so KJ ends up in 8th place. Brent Stelton will slide down to 11th. Rory Cloud will finish in 12th. But our final table, provisionally at least, Greeny will take first, Vapor Cobalt will take second, Let's Get Fiscal will take the final spot on the podium in 3rd place. I think pretty clearly the driver of the day is Greeny. Starting from the back of the grid and winning the race. I mean, this guy just does not quit, has incredible pace, and earns his 4th win of the season. And he will also take the lead in the table, the first lead he's had since, I believe, the 4th race was when he originally lost that lead that he had. But yeah, I have to say that was a lot of fun for me here. I certainly hope that you viewers enjoyed it and will enjoy it. And we look forward to seeing you on Friday, where I believe we'll see some good F2 racing. And that will be
let's see. No, it looks like it's going to be F1, and we'll be in France. So we'll see you guys in France on Friday. I look forward to it. Hope you enjoyed the race today. Once again, Greeny taking the win. Vapor Cobalt taking second. Let's Get Fiscal in third. Reflection, excellent result for him in fourth. And Justice rounds out our top 5. Well, this is Ben Silver on the mic saying that I hope that you'll join us on Friday. And until then, see ya.